Hi guys, so this is Drew, and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile. So, ever since the very first season of Master Duel, I've played Cyber Dragons and experienced a lot of success in rank, and even tried it out for a local tournament. However, this season I wanted to try out new decks because I've been learning new decks for the past few seasons, and one deck that has caught my eye and got me playing it more often than Cyber Dragon right now is Rose Tenyi. And this is a synchro heavy deck that relies on Christian Huggy Fibrax and Mecha Phantom Lisarodon to pull off their combos. And it's a deck that will become stronger once the new Brave Token engine comes out. So we should watch out for that. So here's my deck right now. It's 44 cards. You can run 42. You can even run maybe 41 to 45 at this point. I think the TCG variant with the Brave engine and the other support cards is like 60, so it went to a pile format. Although you can definitely go over 40 with this deck. Just make sure you have the extenders that you need. So that's one thing. So to start off the deck, I think we can start with the tuners. So a synchro deck is not a synchro deck without the tuners, and you need a ton of them. So I have like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's pretty much like one third of the deck are consist of tuner monsters, and you really need your tuners um because you want to set up your Crystal Hockey Fibrax, you want to set up your synchro combos all the time, because if you don't, you're gonna have a really rough time. So um let's talk about the tuners we have. So one Effect Vader. So Effect Vader is very handy as a face-up negate, although I just have this here because I don't wanna get negated by an opponent's Effect Vader. So if I have cross out, I just banish an Effect Vader and uh, do my combo in peace, essentially. Um, Next up, we have Qiwin, one of the Yangzings on my deck. So I have three Yangzings, Qiwin, Bion, and Nine Pillars. And then I have four more on the extra deck. So really handy. Qiwin is a handy tuner because it allows you to have the level 1 tuner you need that allows you to go into Yazi, Baxia, even Chao Feng. So it's just a very handy uh, worm tuner to have. Next up, Deskbot 1. So Deskbot 1, I usually use this for my Hulky Fibrax Auroradon combo because it has the effect where if two or more machine monsters are special summoned, which includes the tokens, you can just special summon this from the graveyard really, really quick. Next up, Jet Synchron. Jet Synchron allows you to go into a one card Hulky Fibrax. So all you have to do is normal summon this, turn it into an Almirage, activate the graveyard effect of Jet Synchron to bring it back on the field, and use Almirage and Jet Synchron to create Christian Hulky Fibrax. And then you can use this bot 1. There we go. Next up, Tenyi Spirit Adhara. So I have 9 Tenyi monsters here. So Adhara are the tuner ones. So this allows you to just go into Hulky Fibrax, and you don't even need to use a special summon for it. So you can special summon Vishuddha, turn it into a monk, and you can special summon an Adhara. So you're not using your normal summon on this one. So really handy. Next up, two Mecha Phantom Beast Olayan. So this is in a way a Garnet. I only picked two because I really want to resolve that Auroradon summon from deck. And sometimes when I had one of these, I tend to like draw into it. Although there are times you draw both of them on the hand, and that's kind of like funny and sad at the same time. The other tuner, Ash Blossom, and this is more than a tuner. This is your best hand trap because it just shuts down so many things, and you don't want to play a deck in Master Duel not have hand traps unless you're playing a control deck or a trap heavy deck like Eldritch, or decks that do not need hand traps, so like decks that run floodgates and stuff. So very handy hand trap. Always have three of these. Next up, Red Rose Dragon. So Red Rose Dragon is like the main part of your combo. If you have this and a Tenyi Spirit or Ascendant of the Thunder, you can make a Baron or a Chisao. Usually a Baron to protect your combo from a possible hand trap negate like Effect Veiler, Imperm, Maxi Ash, or even a Biru. So just have this, and when you use it as synchro material, you get to summon Rox Rose, which then summons, or which then gets Basil Rose Shoot from the deck, and you activate Rose Shoot to revive a Red Rose, and you can use Rox Rose and Red Rose to create Crystron Huggy Fibrax. Very handy combo. And that's it for the tuners. Another hand trap I have is Maxi, so this is just a meta hand trap to have, and you know, if you resolve this and your opponent special summons a couple of monsters, you just get a good hand. Of course, if you resolve, this is always people are ready for this almost most of the time. If they don't have a negate to this, they usually stop, which is good. So it's a very pivotal hand trap if it resolves. Also, the other Yangzing is Beyond. If you use this as synchro material, the monster that is synchro summoned with this cannot be destroyed by battle, so keep that in mind. It may not be a tuner, but if you use this for any synchro on the field, you're bound to have a very sturdy monster that doesn't get destroyed by battle, and that can annoy the opponent, because this was used against me on a Blackwing Synchro, and it was bad because I don't have any way to out it. So very handy to have, very handy effect to keep in mind. Next up, we have Nemesis Corridor. Nemesis Corridor is just here, so I can search it using Cupid Pitch, and I use Nemesis Corridor's effect to bring back a banished monster I have from the banished zone to my deck and to special summon on the field. And since that's a thunder effect that activates from hand, you can just tribute this to bring out Thunder Dragon Colossus, and that's its main purpose. It's a 1/9 attack monster, but you know, days of 1900 attack monsters being like meta relevant are no longer there. Send of the Thunder is works the same as your level 7 Tenyis. Like you can just special summon this, but at a cost of 3,000 life points, and just go into your Hulky Fireworks play or go into the Baron Red Rose Hulky or Don combo. So really cool. Tenyi Spirit, as I said, you can special summon this and really just off the bat, you know, save your normal summon for something, go into synchro plays or go into Hulky Fibrax. Rishuda, I really like this card because it allows you to bounce a card back to the hand or back to the extra deck if it's an extra deck monster. Oh, another hand trap I have is Nibiru. So if this is, I only have one because I use this for preventing my opponent's Nibiru from resolving, and that's by using Crossout Designator to banish it. And you know, banishing means I have monster to banish using Nemesis Corridor if I'm going for the Cupid Pitch play. Always handy. So very, very cool. Next up we have our back row removal, Harpy's Feather Duster. Always great to have one. You know, it still kills Eldritch, it still kills True Draco, it still kills any back row heavy deck, just as long as it doesn't get stopped. And you know, also kills something like Sky Strikers too, which relies a lot on their back row, and their hopes hinge on their spell cards resolving and being safe. So this one keeps them unsafe. Lightning Storm also does that, so you usually use the Destroy All Spells and Traps, although you can use this for the monster removal. If your opponent just carelessly puts everything on attack position, they're kind of doomed if this resolves. Next up, Monster Reborn. So Monster Reborn is an extender in this deck. So you can just revive a tuner, revive like a Tenyi. You can just go into Hulky Fibrax, you can go into Baron, you can go into any of your synchro if you try to extend with this. Really, really handy. 1-for-1 as well. This can be your extender or starter. Usually it's a starter. You can just bring out a level 1 tuner by discarding one monster that you don't need. So really, really handy. We have Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is usually for anti-hand trap, but it's also your automatic banish card. You can banish a monster from the graveyard, so it banishes them and negates the effects of the monsters of the same name. So like really handy, really powerful. Cross out, I did say its effect, so it allows you to negate a card of your opponent by banishing the same card that you have, if you have that. So with something like Sword Soul, for example, Sword Soul Tenyi, they use a lot of Tenyi spirits. You can use Cross Out, banish one of the Tenyis to negate the summon. But usually you use this to stop hand traps from resolving. So very handy. Having 3 of this is just it's just great right now, especially with a lot of disruptions in Master Duel, and it's a best of 1, so you really want to resolve everything. Basil Rose Shoot, I did say this is your Monster Reborn for the Red Rose, or just special summon from hand if you need it. Really cool. 3 infinite permanents, extra hand traps, and if you set this, if you have this during your first turn, it's always great to have on field because you know you're not gonna use one of the monster negates you have or your 9 pillars if it's a monster effect. So very handy. Extra deck monster, Thunder Dragon Colossus. So Thunder Dragon Colossus is, your one-off fusion monster here that you summon by tributing Nemesis Corridor. And it gives you a Droll and Lockbird Floodgate effect. So you can this kills your opponent's search cards. They can only draw cards. So really handy, and if this gets destroyed by battle or card effect, you can just banish a thunder monster, and there are 3 thunder monsters on this deck. So 1 or 2 times if you have Nemesis Corridor once the Ascended. If you have all 3 of the thunder monsters, that's really cool. Herald of the Arclight is a negate by tribute. However, it also has the effect where any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. So it's kind of like Dimension Fissure if it's on the field. So it stops plays from happening. So some opponents rely on discarding for cost and discarding to graveyard for cost. And this one prevents that. So the card basically becomes dead. So apart from having a gate, you have that kind of floodgate effect, so it's nasty. Cupid Pitch allows you to modulate the level of this monster, so you can level this to like 5 or 3. So if you want to go into something like Denglong, Borreled Savage, or any of the Yangzing monsters here, so this is very versatile. And if you use it as Synchro Material, goes to the graveyard, it does a bit of burn damage and allows you to search for Nemesis Corridor. Because it search monsters with 600 defense from your deck. So Nemesis Corridor, coincidentally, is a 600 defense monster that can be used to bring out Colossus. Colossus is more of a win more, so if you don't want to go into Colossus, you don't have to. You can go into like Herald of the Arclight instead of Cupid Pitch, since these are level 4 synchros. Next up is Denglong. Denglong is your searcher for the Yangzings. Usually you summon this to search 9 pillars and put 9 pillars in the field and the Yangzing monster. This card goes live. It's a really, really powerful Omni Negate that spins the card from the deck instead of destroying it, which is very, very handy because sometimes if you negate and they go to the graveyard, sometimes they can still make plays out of this. But if you spin the card from back to the deck, sometimes they can't. It mostly shuts down a lot of plays, and it's a counter trap, so it's very very fast. It's faster than Droplet. You can also use this to stop Droplet if they don't discard a trap card, which they usually don't. Yazi, Baxia, and Chao Feng are your main Yangzing synchros. Yazi's effect, usually you pop this using Baron. Special summon a worm monster from your deck. Although you can use this to pop itself and pop another monster that your opponent has. So kind of like Pancratops. Very handy. Baxia, when you summon this, you can bounce cards. So you can bounce an extra deck monster back to the extra deck. Or you can bounce cards back to you can spin. You can actually spin them, I mean, not bounce. So really cool. Maximum of 2 if you use 2 different worm monsters with different attributes. Furlough Savage Dragon is my favorite synchro monster. It gives you at least at most 3 Omni Negates here, at least 1 if you use a Link 1, but you'd mostly use Auroradon. So you want Auroradon in the graveyard before you bring this out, so you can have a really powerful 4050 attack beat stick when you have Auroradon. Although using Hulky Fibrax on this is not bad either, because you have like 3750. It's still a beat stick, and it has 2 to 3 Omni Negates once per that you can use once per turn. Although worth noting, when this negates, it does not destroy, so use this to negate search cards, back row removal, just to make sure that you don't want a monster that you negated still be on the field. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Chao Feng is a very powerful Yangzing. It's level 9. And when this card is synchro summoned, your opponent cannot activate effects of monsters with the same original attributes as the Yangzing monsters use for the synchro summon. So if you use Baxia, for example, and then Qiwin to summon this, that means the effects of light monsters cannot be activated. Although if you can use something like Bion and Denglong, and you can prevent light and earth from activating. But locking light monster effects is already great. So, and this also has the effect if like a monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, a monster that your opponent controls, I mean, you can special summon a worm monster from your deck. So you can use this to bring out a Tenyi, for example, and then you just bring out a tuner if you have one on hand, or special summon, and you can synchro summon, get another one of your synchros here. Next up, Baron de Fleur. Another favorite synchro monster because it's splashable in a lot of synchro decks. Has a once per duel essentially, or once per summon Omni Negate, so you can only use it once. And you can pop a card once per turn with this. You can pop your own Yangzings to trigger their effects. You can pop someone's back row, or you can pop a face-up monster if needed. So very handy. You can also use this to tag out during the standby phase to something like Denglong. So really, really good. Very handy card. So very versatile and very generic. So if you're looking for generic extra deck boss monsters, have Baron de Fleur if you're running a synchro deck. Next up, another level 10. Cheng Ying, Sword Soul Cheng Ying, and this is a very powerful card. This gains 100 attack and defense for each banished card. Opponents lose 100 attack and defense for each banished card, just as long as this is up on the field. And if this gets would be destroyed by a card effect, you can just banish a card from the graveyard, just making it stronger. And if you banish something while this card is up, you can banish an opponent's card on the field and on the graveyard, which kills a lot of plays. Very dangerous card to leave on the field, but you have this when you're using Rose Tenyi, so you're gonna be safe a bit. Almirage, I use this mostly for just Jet Synchron Hulky Fireback's play, just in case it's my only tuner I have on hand. It's the only monster I can use. So very handy. Another generic link one that you can have on any deck because it's very reliable, and it just sends stuff to the graveyard, which a lot of decks really need to. Monk of the Tenyi, just use any Tenyi here, so it becomes a non-effect monster. So you can just keep on special summoning Tenyis just as long as you have a non-effect monster. That's Monk of the Tenyi usually. Have two just in case you need to do it again for recovery plays or yeah, for recovery plays. Christian Hulky Fibrats, this is your synchro combo starter. So you want to resolve this. You want to make sure its effect resolves. Get a tuner like Deskbot or Jet Synchron, and then go into Auroradon. You want Auroradon to resolve too, but usually, some people wait to negate either Hulky Fibrax or Auroradon. If they try to negate Auroradon, that's a pretty smart move. That means they know what's up or they've seen this combo too many times. So, these two cards are your key to just making sure that you bring out all the synchros that you have on your deck. And even Thunder Dragon Colossus. It's not a synchro, but you know, you can joke this is the best Link 1 monster because you only need one Thunder monster to tribute for this one. So it's insane that it's very easy to summon. But yeah, this is my Rose Tenyi deck. You can, as I said, you can cut this to like 42, 41, and still have that same consistency. And there are a lot of other tuners and synchro monsters you can add. You can check some synchros that you can add. So let's limit this one. There's just too many synchros on the list. You can go into Chengying actually, level 8. Although you can add a Sword Soul, a few Sword Soul cards for this to make it work. So that's one thing. You can go into you can go into Crimson Blader if you're going second and you destroy one monster. You can't summon monsters during their next turn, level 5 or higher. So that's one thing. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. If you don't have Borreload Savage, this works. Black Rose Dragon, which is part of the Rose archetype. You can use this, really handy. I think you can also use Shooting Riser, but since Auroradon is here, you don't need that much level modulation yet. But if any of these get hit, so you have to use them. Coral Dragon, maybe something you can use. Not sure, but there's a lot of synchros that you can use, and you can just get into these and can just win more. So that's really cool. But yeah, that's my Rose Tenyi deck profile. This deck went to Diamond. I used this deck to grind out in Platinum, and it's a really, really fun deck to play. And there's just so many combo lines you can do. If ever I can post some video replays of my gameplay using this deck. And yeah, it's just enjoyable. It will get stronger. Once the Brave Token engine arrives, this deck will just go a bit bonkers and fun. So fun for you, but maybe not fun for the opponent. But hey, Yu-Gi-Oh is about making sure that you set up the best position to win. So yeah, so this is my Rose Tenyi deck profile, and thank you for those who are watching. Be sure to like the video. You can share it with your friends, and also you can comment for suggestions or questions that you have. I'm always open to questions, so really leave a comment. You can also subscribe. I'm helping this channel grow. I want to I'm trying to make sure I post Master Duel content as much as I can. So a subscription would do wonders for the growth of this channel, and I would thank you for that. But for now, this is it for my deck profile, and I'll see you in the next video. So goodbye.